So today's video is going to be reading books until I find a 5-star. So I'm going to be telling you guys about the books that I'm going to be reading for the rest of this week and maybe a little bit of next week. And I'm going to be seeing if I can find a 5-star read. I really enjoy watching these videos on YouTube from some of my favorite YouTubers. I think I just watched 2 yesterday. So I was like, you know what? I need to do this video at some point, and I feel like the books that I have picked out are like kind of perfect for this because it's not like I haven't found 5 stars this past month in August, so now we're in the start of September. But I just really haven't found a book that I'm like absolutely obsessed with. Like pretty much the only book, I mean, I did rate like maybe like 4 books 5 stars last month, but that's because I was in love with the story. But really the only book I was straight up obsessed with was Redeeming Six, which is the 4th book in the Boys of Tommen series, because I'm obsessed with that series. I love it so much. I think it's phenomenally written. So I thought, what better time to do this than this week, because there's actually 2 new releases that come out today. So today is Tuesday, September 3rd, and there are 2 new releases from 2 authors that I really do enjoy. One is an author that literally got me back into reading, and the second one, I absolutely adored their first book, and their second book just came out today. So the first book that I'm going to talk about, I actually picked this up yesterday because my Barnes & Noble actually had this early, and the first book is Primetime Romance by Kate Robb. So this officially comes out today, September 3rd. So I already started this one because I did not want to wait to start this, and some people literally start their reading before they film the intro. It's not like a huge deal. That's like literally what I'm supposed to be doing. But I will give you updates on what I think so far, but so far it's been hilarious, but I'm going to just update you guys after I finish talking about the other books that I predict are going to be 5-star. But I absolutely loved her first book, This Spells Love. I gave that a 5 stars. I read it back at the like middle of February. Like after I read ACOTAR, I decided to read This Spells Love by Kate Robb. And I was like, I just need a simple, fun romance after reading all of Sarah J. Maas's, most of Sarah J. Maas's books. In January and February, I had read Throne of Glass and ACOTAR, all in the beginning of January through the halfway through February. So like for a month, the first month and a half of the year. So I was like, I need like a simple romance to like, you know, for like a palate cleanser, and I absolutely loved that book. So I have a strong feeling that this might be a 5-star. And then the second book that comes out today is by Matt Haig, and it's called The Life Impossible. I don't have it yet because I didn't go pick it up yet, and also my Barnes & Noble didn't have it yet, but I'm probably going to go pick it up probably Thursday night because I think I'm going to start it Thursday, or I might just pick it up later after work today because I'm going to go see if my Target has it, because even if Barnes & Noble did have it, it was $30. I'm like, I'm not spending $30 because apparently it only comes out in hardcover right now. But I absolutely adore Matt Haig's writing. He was the author that literally got me into reading again because I've always struggled with reading, and his books like really are so unique. He has such a unique voice in the writing industry, and I just absolutely adore his books. So I've read 3 of his books, and 2 of them I gave 5 stars. I've read The Radleys, I read The Midnight Library, and I also read How to Stop Time, and The Radleys and Midnight Library were both 5-star for me. I adore those books. Midnight Library has sold 9 million copies. That's literally nuts because it appeals to so many people, and I love that book so much. But actually, my favorite book from him is The Radleys. That was the first book that I read when I got back into reading, and that's still like one of my favorite books of all time. I want to reread that book so badly next month, and I feel like it would be so perfect in Halloween during October, but I don't know if I'm going to have time, but we will see. But anyway, I'm going to go pick this up later, and I predict that this will be a 5-star, so I'm super excited for that one. And then the next one, I really, really do want to read this. I'm probably going to read this right after I read The Life Impossible, because I don't want to read like too many romances in a row. So the next one is Lovely War by Julie Berry. I wanted to throw like a fantasy / like almost historical fiction. I think this book is a little bit. Let me just look up the actual genre of this one. Lovely War genre. And also, like, Matt Haig's books are kind of like magical realism and also has fantasy elements to them as well. Yeah, I was right. Historical fiction, fantasy fiction, and magical realism. So that is what this book is. And it also covers mythology. So I just want to read the synopsis of this one real quick, but everybody has been rating this book like 5 stars. Most people that have been reading this have given it like a 4.5 and above. So I feel like that this book could be a potential 5-star for me as well. And this one says, in the perilous days of World Wars I and II, the gods held the fates and the hearts of 4 mortals in their hands. So I'm going to read the synopsis of each one. I just haven't yet. I just wanted to give you an intro on the book. So I predict that this one could be a 5-star. And also, this is the longest book, but it's super floppy and the pages are really, really big. They're really big, spaced out pages. So I don't think this is going to take me too long, even though it is the longest book in this video. And then the last one is, I think this is another romance. Let me just make sure. I think it's also just fiction. Just last. Let me just double check. It says romance. Okay. It says the new romance genre. Okay. It says these new romances tend to focus primarily on the female protagonist and are usually grounded in real life tragedies. So the last one that I have is Just Last Night by Mahari McFarlane. I really do want to read this. Probably the way the order that I told you guys about the books is probably the order that I'm going to read them in. So I think this is going to be the last one that I read. So I found out about this book, an author by Haley Pham. And if you guys don't know who Haley Pham is, she's like the queen of BookTube. She has like 3 million subscribers, but she's been absolutely raving about this author. And this was the book I seemed to be the most intrigued by with this author, because this was the first book that she read by this author. And she gave it a 5 stars, and I think she read it back in like June. And then I was like super intrigued to pick this up, and I was like, I think that I'm really going to love this, and I'm hoping that this will be another 5-star prediction. I've never read anything from this author before. I've also never read anything by Julie Berry. So I wanted to make it 2 new releases from repeat authors that I love, which is great that they're new releases and they literally come out today. And then the other 2 are from authors that I've heard nothing but amazing things about, but I've never read their books before. So really excited for this one as well. So let's talk about Primetime Romance first. I'm on page 80 right now, or 81. And so far, I'm just having such a fun time. I think that this is hysterical, so I'll read you guys the synopsis. So it says, a young divorcee finds herself in the ideal world of her favorite 2000s teen soap in this second chance whimsical romantic comedy from the author of This Spells Love. Newly divorced and about to celebrate her 13th birthday, Bryn is sick of heartbreak. She thought she had found her happy ending, but now she's living with a roommate, Josh, to afford her mortgage, and now she's trying to adjust to her new single life. At least she's got her beloved 2000s teenage soap, Carson's Cove, to binge. The series ended unexpectedly on a cliffhanger. Sorry. Every time I say series, my thinks I'm, saying talking to my Siri. But anyway, it ended unexpectedly on a cliffhanger after 5 seasons, and the two main characters, Sloane and Spencer, never got to declare their love for each other. The show is still perfect in Bryn's eyes, despite all the drama that goes down. Things always have a way of working out in Carson's Cove, unlike her own life. So then they end up being trapped in the TV show. And so far, I'm having a grand time. I don't want to make this intro too long because I'm going to have to do check-ins. I might just come back like halfway through and then I will just give my thoughts at the end for each book. I don't want to make this video too long. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll just check in when I'm halfway through and when I finish it and give you guys my rating. So that's what I'll do. So yeah, so far I think this is really funny. And then the next one is The Life Impossible by Matt Haig. So let me just read the synopsis of that one. Let me go back to Goodreads. So this one says, what looks like magic is simply a part of life we don't understand yet. When retired math teacher Grace Winters is left a rundown house on a Mediterranean island by a long-lost friend, curiosity gets the better of her. She arrives in Ibiza with a one-way ticket, no guidebook, and no plan. Among the rugged hills and golden beaches of the island, Grace searches for answers about her friend's life and how it ended. What she uncovers is stranger than she could have dreamed. But to dive into this impossible truth, Grace must first come to terms with her past. Filled with wonder and wild adventure, this is the story of hope and the life-changing power of a new beginning. So I'm so excited for this one. And also, I'm so excited to read a Matt Haig book this year because I actually haven't read any of his books this year. And he's one of my beloved authors that I would love to read his entire backlist at some point. I'm actually working on reading Catherine Center's entire backlist. For the past couple of months, I've been reading one of her books a month, and I absolutely adore her books, but I'm hoping to also work through Matt Haig's entire backlist. So excited for that one. I'm definitely reading that one next. I just have to go pick it up later. And then the next one, like I said, is Lovely War by Julie Berry. I kind of read a little bit of it there, but there is a really brief synopsis on the back. It says Hazel James, Aubrey, and Colette, a classical pianist from London, a British would-be architect turned soldier, a Harlem-born ragtime genius in the U.S. Army, and a Belgian orphan with a gorgeous voice and a devastating past. Their story, as told by goddess Aphrodite, who must spin the tale or face judgment on Mount Olympus, is filled with hope and heartbreak, prejudice and passion, and reveals that though war is a formidable force, it's no match for the transcendent power of love. I think this sounds fantastic, and I'm so excited to read this. I just saw Destiny Sidwell rated this 5 stars. She said that she absolutely loved this, so really excited to read this as well. And then the last book is Mahari McFarlane's Just Last Night. And this one says, internationally best-selling author Mahari McFarlane explores lifelong friendships, long-buried secrets, and unexpected love in a heartfelt, emotional new novel. Eve, Justin, Susie, and Ed have been friends since they were teenagers. Now in their 30s, the four are as close as ever. Thursday night bar trivia is sacred, and Eve is secretly in love with Ed. Maybe she should have moved on by now, but she can't stop thinking about what could have been. And she knows Ed still thinks about it too. But then in an instant, their lives are changed forever. In the aftermath, Eve's world is upended. As stunning secrets are revealed, she begins to wonder if she really knew her friends as well as she thought. And when someone from her past comes back into her life, Eve's future veers in a surprising new direction. They say every love story starts with a single moment. What if it was just last night? So really excited for this one as well. And I'm predicting that'll be a 5-star as well. So yeah, I'm really excited to see if I end up being flat out obsessed with any of these books. That's really what I'm looking for, is just that high from an amazing book where I'm obsessed with the characters, I'm obsessed with the story, and I'm obsessed with the writing. So far I'm really loving this. I'm going to check in with you guys when I'm halfway through. And I'm hoping to finish this book hopefully by tomorrow. It's a really, really light book, so I think I'm going to finish this rather quickly. But I don't want to give you guys any more thoughts until I'm halfway through, so I don't blab your ear off. So yeah, bye. I'll check in later. Okay, so hey guys, so I wanted to give you guys my update on Primetime Romance by Kate Robb. I'm now officially halfway through. I'm on page 153. So basically, the two main characters' names are Bryn and Josh. And basically, Bryn is a recent divorcee and Josh is her roommate. She needed a roommate to move in because obviously, like, she couldn't afford living on her own after her divorce, so Josh moved in. And basically, it starts off where it is Bryn's birthday and she doesn't really have like anybody to celebrate with, and she finds like this new group of friends because she didn't really have friends before, but she's trying to get back out there. And you know, Josh is still like kind of a friend to her, even though he's mostly her roommate. They still like know each other and they still talk to each other and interact with each other. So she goes out for like this bachelorette party with like her new group of friends, and she's like, it's so funny the way that she like describes the group of girls. So basically, like, she joined this like online texting group or something where like it's called like brunch bitches or something, and it's basically like a text chain where like these girls like get together for brunches like every month or something, and they go and, you know, chat about boys and all this bullshit. But also, Bryn is obsessed with this show called Carson's Cove, where she like constantly rewatches it. And basically, it's like her comfort. You know, it's like for people with anxiety, they like always need to know how something ends. That's why like they constantly rewatch something. With me, I have anxiety, but like for me, I don't have to constantly rewatch something. I actually really love when something is new, when something is a new story. That's why I don't really reread too many books. That's why I love just constantly reading new books and stories that I can just totally enthrall myself in. So anyway, it turns out to be her birthday, and they come home from this like bachelorette party, and Josh just so happens to be the bartender at this nightclub that Bryn goes to. And also this group of girls need her to get into the club because her brother used to work there. So they end up getting into the club because of her, and Josh is there, and Josh is like, why don't you wait till I get off? He's gonna leave work early because he said it's like super dangerous to go home. And he wants to walk Bryn home together so they can both go home together. So they go home, and then there's like, he wants to watch the show with her. Like, she's about to like curl up and watch Carson's Cove, and she's like, he's like, he just sits down on the couch and he's like, what are we watching? And she's like, I was gonna watch this. Like, why is he here? So then, this guy like ends up coming to the door, and it's like 12 o'clock at night, and they're both like, who are you expecting this late? So like Josh like checks the door, and then he sees it's like this Uber delivery guy, and he ends up like dropping off this cake, like a birthday cake for her. And the Uber driver's like, oh my god, like happy birthday and blah blah blah. And he was like, oh my god, I didn't know it was your birthday. So she was like, it's too late for birthday cake though, I want to go to sleep. But then, like, Josh does this super cute thing where he cuts a slice of cake and gives her it with a candle. And he's like, it's not your birthday unless you make a wish. And she was like, okay. And then they end up both waking up the next day. They had, like, this really vivid dream. And it turns out that they were transported into Carson's Cove. So that's basically what is all taking place right now. But like the beginning was really, really funny. Like, I was laughing my ass off basically for the first 100 pages, but I'm not really feeling too much chemistry between Bryn and Josh. Why can't I remember their names? But so basically when they get to the show, and when they figure out that they're stuck in this show, it's giving me like serious Pleasantville vibes where like they try to leave, but they can't. Like they're trying to drive off to cross this bridge, but they can't because, you know, they're stuck in the show. And that basically was the same thing that happened in Pleasantville. So I thought that was really funny. And also the Uber guy that brought her the birthday cake turns out to be in this show, like trapped in this show. But since this show ended abruptly, like it never got the ending that it deserves. So basically, Brynn and Josh are obligated to help the guy that brought her here, and he turns out to be an extra, but he's called like the extra, which means that he's actually been on pretty much almost every episode of this show, and people like, you know, always call out his characters, and he becomes like an internet sensation and like a fan favorite. And he's like, I'll only send you home if you give this show like the ending it deserves. So far that was like a really intriguing concept. So they both basically have to play these two characters that left at the end of the series that are supposed to like rekindle romances with two of the other characters that they ended up leaving. And now they come back and now they're supposed to rekindle their romances. I think that's mostly Brynn. I don't know if Josh has a love interest yet. I don't remember if they mentioned a love interest for her on the show. For him on the show, I mean. But it's kind of getting to be a little bit flat right now for me because it's just basically like what's going on in the show, which is fine, but I'm not feeling enough chemistry between the two main characters because even though there's like build up with a slow burn romance or even in any romance, there has to be some chemistry between the two main characters. That's the main reason why you read a romance book, and so far I'm not really feeling that. But it is still fun. It is still entertaining. I'm still going to finish it. It's a very fast-paced, easy read. So hopefully it will get better. But I'm just not really feeling the chemistry between them. So that's basically what's going on right now. And then I just wanted to say before I end this check-in, and then I'll check in with you guys tomorrow with my rating of Primetime Romance. I did end up picking up Matt Haig's The Life Impossible at Target earlier, so now I have the physical copy, and this is going to be the next book that we read. So yeah, I'll check in tomorrow. Bye! Okay, so hey guys, so I just wanted to say that I finished Primetime Romance by Kate Robb. I literally just finished it like 5 minutes ago. It's literally like 3 in the morning, but I just binged it because I knew that this was going to be such a fast, easy read because it's literally like I said, it's so small and light. I'm kind of struggling on what I want to rate this though. I think I'm going to give you my rating first so you don't have to like wait like and be like, what the hell's your rating, girl? I think I'm landing on maybe a 3.5 or 3.75, but it's not a 5-star, obviously. This unfortunately was not a 5-star like her first book was for me. I just really wasn't feeling any chemistry between the two main characters, and I feel like that was what people were saying in their reviews of this book. Like when I read some of the reviews on Goodreads, I even read some reviews where they said like this had more of like a thriller aspect to it, and honestly there was like one or two situations where it kind of did have thriller elements to it because so basically, like, after Brynn makes the deal with Sheldon, which is the extra that's been on this show, like, for a long time, he's been, like, 50 episodes, she cuts a deal with him saying, because he said the only way you can go home is if you like fall in love with Spencer. Like, meaning Bryn has to fall in love with Spencer, and, well, not Bryn, Sloane. Her TV show's character is Sloane, and like he keeps on trying to get her to fall in love with him, but she's really in love with Josh. Like, everybody like real knows, and it's like pretty predictable that she falls in love with Josh. But then like Sheldon starts threatening her, and she says, if you don't get Spencer to say I love you and kiss you and fall in love with you, then you're going to stay. And even after he does fall in love with you, you still have to stay here forever. So that's why it was a little bit weird. But also, I felt like this book was kind of a combo between Pleasantville and A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. And I read a novel love story when it came out too. I read that, I think it came out in July, or was it June? I can't remember. I think it was July. But I thought that was a better romance between the two main characters. I know some people say that they were bored with that book, but I thought that book was very well written. I love Ashley Poston's writing. She's one of my favorite authors for a reason. I had rated that book a 4.25. Just, I really loved the story though, and still like the core of the story was the romance. I just felt like this romance like kind of came out of nowhere, and like all of a sudden she was in love with Josh. And it happened over the course of like the week that they were in the TV show, and I understand that they were living together for quite a while, but they never really like hinted at, or Kate Robb didn't really hint at Bryn like being in love with Josh for a while. Like, it kind of wasn't the same as like This Spells Love, and I didn't want it to be a carbon copy of that. But like the concept of a novel love story just like worked a little bit better, because even though there were multiple characters in that were in the novels that the main character was obsessed with and ended up going to the town and being trapped there, I felt like their stories were fleshed out much better in that than that it was in this. This was just trying too hard to be something that it wasn't. And I also felt like when the romance did finally happen, I do feel like it was really rushed. And I understand they're stuck in a TV show, but they also, what would have been really cute is if they did a little bit like, if she had like a 10-page epilogue of like what happened to the show. Like, it could have been like a recap of like 20 years later they come back and like they recap everything that happened, and then there's like a series finale that nobody got, and then, but like, you these events that are happening in the show are happening concurrently as their real life. So, but it's like a little bit confusing as to if, the world ever sees this show again, because she didn't really make that very clear. She was kind of hinting at it, but I liked A Novel Love Story more because it was more explained, and it kind of really made sense why you needed to finish these characters' stories. And again, this was like a similar concept, but the romance just fell short for me, because literally by the time you got to it, it was like 3 or 4 pages. And like, there were like 2 smut scenes, but even that felt so rushed. But I liked how it was written, because like nobody wants like more than like a 4-page smut scene unless it's like an incredibly slow burn romance. But like, even like the smut in this felt very rushed. And then it's like all of a sudden she's like, oh my god, I need to go back for Josh. And then when she actually has him, I actually felt the ending was pretty rushed too, when she finally gets him. So that's all I'm going to say, is that, because I don't really want to spoil it, and I don't want to say much more about the rest of the book, but I just feel like it was lacking with the romance, and that was a lot of people's complaints with this book in the reviews, is that it was saying that, where's the romance? And I kind of have to agree with that, because even though like Abby Jimenez like talks about multiple topics in her books that are very heavy topics, there's just the romance is never like lacking. The romance is always the core of what her books are. And they're always such beautiful love stories. This was enjoyable. It was fun. I would still recommend it if you were interested in it, but it's nothing that I'm like over the moon for. So I think I'm teetering on a 3.5 or a 3.75. I really was getting four star vibes, and then I kind of brought it down to like a 3.75 because I think I kind of agree with other people that like the first like 100 or so pages were really fun, but I kind of felt like how I do about an Ali Hazelwood book when I was reading this, because I don't love Ali Hazelwood and I keep on like putting off her other books. So yeah, that's where I'm landing on with this one. Unfortunately, it wasn't a 5 star. So we are gonna go for now because I'm gonna try and go to sleep. I was gonna try and not stay up this late, but honestly, when I was reading, I just wasn't sleepy. So anyway, tomorrow we are going to start Matt Haig's The Life Impossible, and I'm super excited to get into this one. I have a really good feeling about this. I love his writing so much. So the search continues. Bye. Okay, so hey guys. So I'm in bed because it's pretty late. But I've been reading a lot today, and I told you guys I was going to start The Life Impossible by Matt Haig, and I finished it. I started it this morning, and I am officially halfway through. I'm on page 163, so that's pretty good. I'm gonna stop reading now though, because that's still a lot. It's still like over 160 pages that I read today. And so far I am really enjoying this. I just love his writing so much. I don't know if this is going to be a 5 star for me, but I'm getting like pretty high, like 4 star vibes already. Basically, it's about a woman named Grace Winters, and she's a retired math teacher. And basically, she gets like this letter that like this house in Ibiza was like left to her, and she has no idea why. She had an interaction with this woman named Christina, or Christiana, something like that. And she had an interaction with her like years ago. Can I speak? And apparently that has stuck with Christiana like her whole life. And Christiana tragically dies, or you think that she dies, but we don't really know now. But she leaves Grace this house, and Grace is like this old woman. She's like 72 years old, and she doesn't really have a life anymore. Like, when there's so many like beautiful things that Matt Haig covers in his books, because he struggles with depression, and like basically each book that he writes is pretty much like an evolution of his issues with depression, but he makes the the writing like so magical, but also like so interesting and intriguing, like all at the same time. I feel like with his books there's a lot of internal dialogue, but there's no like words wasted. Every single word like means something in his books, and that's why I love reading his books so much. Basically, this is like a collection of emails that she is writing to her like pen pals, because again, she's very lonely. Um she actually had a husband that passed away, and also something tragic happened to their child. I don't want to really give it away, but basically she's like all alone now, and she's been living on her own for quite a while, and she doesn't really like, she's kind of like struggling with like her meaning, to go on, but she's not like wanting to unalive herself. But so she is left this house, so she has to go to this house in Ibiza, and she's like, I'm not gonna go, and then all of a sudden she's like, I'm going. It was just really funny the way that he said it. And now she is living in this house, and then she finds a letter from Christiana, like basically trying, she was like, maybe this letter will tell me like why she left me this house, and it didn't really give her much answers, but basically she was telling like Grace to basically go live her life, like go like get the magic of life back, because like again she didn't really feel like she was having that. She wasn't really inspired to live like a extraordinary life, you know? So as she is living in this house in this town, weird things are happening. There's like this olive jar in the refrigerator that keeps on filling with water even though she went and poured it out, and then like the next day she opens the refrigerator and then the jar is full again. It's like weird things like that. And now like peculiar things are happening to her and she's changing, and now all of a sudden she is having like a new lease on life. It's basically like being depressed and then now she's on like antidepressants, I feel like, because she's still like senses sadness, but she's feeling better, you know, and that's like how people with depression deal with depression, is that they're put on antidepressants and they feel like everything is happy and great again, but it's really not. But that's why like I'm relating to this a lot. This isn't um he also has a way of like making books short but also packed with so much information, and I don't really feel like this is a too fast of a read for me, but I'm not bored with it and I like taking my time reading this. Like even though I did get halfway through today, it's taking me a bit longer to get through the pages, but his words are so beautiful, and I've been taking so many pictures of quotes in this book because they're just so relatable to life. So I'm really enjoying this so far. So that's basically what's happened so far. And then I will check in again when I finish it. I think I'm, like I said, I'm getting like 4-star vibes right now, but we'll see. I just want to read this one quote that has stuck with me like the entire time that I've been reading this. I love it so much. It says, someone once told me the way to die happy is to die complete, to live like you eat a delicious meal, to devour and enjoy every course so that when you have finished you are full and enjoyed every mouthful, but aren't too sad there is no more. It seemed that Christina, after a mediocre starter, may have had a satisfying main course and dessert and left this planet content. Like what? This is such a good quote. Like I feel like that can be like my life motto now, like saying like live your life like a good meal, you know? I love that so much. So yeah, gonna continue reading this tomorrow. Hopefully we'll finish it tomorrow night. Um so yeah, bye. Okay, so hey guys, so I just finished Matt Haig's The Life Impossible. Um and I do have a lot of thoughts, but I also feel like I'm very tired after reading this, but in a good way. But it is a bit much taking in some of the information in this book, but he does it in such a easy way that he, like I said, he packs so much information, but also like basically this is about the life of not seeing the impossible, like seeing like the possibilities of what humans can achieve, like, you know, finding alien life, or like, you know, really just soaking in the moments in life. And that's kind of like
what he's saying, like the overall message in this book is, the magic of life is just living every moment to the fullest and really experiencing every moment and like having that enhanced feeling about every moment and like like when you look at the beach and you're looking at the sunset, like you really just need to take the time to appreciate it. And that's why, like, I've said this so many times, but like books are magic. Like, I feel like reading is like the closest thing to magic that we can get because it's like escapism in like the best way. And I feel like that was like the overall message of this, but also it's like live your life, like travel, see the world, all of that. And I really, really liked it, but um, I'm teetering between a 4 and a 4.25 stars. I'm thinking it's probably a 4.25 just because, again, I love his writing so much. But it was not a 5 star for me, just because I felt that it probably could have been recapped a little bit faster in the end, but at the same time, like I just again love every word of his writing. So basically in the second half of the book, there's like an evil that Grace and Alberto have to defeat basically, and there's like this big protest that's gonna happen where like this rich guy wants to like clear like the forest and everything and build like a huge building, and people are protesting that this is going to happen. So there was a lot of like messages about like the environment in here and like sea life and all of that, which honestly I really did enjoy, but at the same time like I kind of wish there was a bit more of a fantasy element in this. But I know like with his writing again that he combines messages, fantasy, and almost like reading nonfiction all at the same time. And that's why I really love his writing. But also, I think the the writing that I enjoyed the most from him was like the Radleys in the Midnight Library because those were all so, especially the Midnight Library was such a perfect combination of the fantasy but also like and magical realism, but like giving you like the overall message of that the main character was still very depressed. But I think that's why I liked that book more. And also that's why that book was such a huge hit with people, is because it really is a fantastic book. But I still really liked this a lot. I thought it was still great. Um, and basically like Grace keeps on like developing like these abilities, but she's like a 72-year-old woman, but this like really gets her to live her life pretty much. And that's basically what the second half of the book was. um but yeah, I really did enjoy it. I don't think there's anything else I need to say, maybe just because it's a little bit late right now, but I think that's like most of my overall thoughts. Like her enjoying like just eating a fruit and like, having all these abilities of like predicting things, predicting the future, like um also sensing like every sound and every um what every person is going through. Like she had that ability. So that was the basic gist of it. It was still really good. I teared up a little bit, but nothing that like made me um too to doubt my rating. I love how there's like all the illustrations of like the sea creatures that they talk about in this book. It's just so freaking adorable, and like all the birds and everything. It's so cute. So yeah, I really did enjoy it. I still love his writing. So yeah, it was really good. I liked it a lot. Hopefully that will sum up my thoughts. So tomorrow I'm not really gonna have that much reading time because I'm going to the beach and then I'm also going to my friend's house afterwards and we're going to have another barbecue. But this is pretty much like our end of summer barbecue, even though I was just at our house on Sunday for Labor Day. So I just worked earlier tonight, so I had more reading time today. But I don't think I'm going to start Lovely War tomorrow because again, I'm not gonna have that much reading time tomorrow. And I kind of want something a little bit lighter after reading this book. I need like a bit of a romance. So I'm gonna go into Just Last Night by Mahari McFarlane, hopefully tomorrow night. So this is the one I'm gonna be starting next. I'm not gonna be reading Lovely War until after I finish this one. So I have a good feeling about this one. Hopefully, this will be a 5 star because so far we haven't found one yet. But I did really enjoy that book. So, yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Bye.
Okay, so hey guys, I wanted to give you guys an update on where I'm at in Just Last Night by Mahari McFarlane. I'm on page 202, which is a little bit more than halfway through. I kind of have conflicted feelings about this. It's still extremely well written, and I'm really, really enjoying the writing. I really do. So basically, let me tell you guys what the story is about. So there's a group of friends named Eve, Justin, Susie, and Ed, and basically it's just about their friendship group and pretty much the reason why they are friends is because none of them like each other. And they go to like these trivia nights, and it's like kind of a tradition for them to do. And this book like started out freaking hysterical. Like I had to put down the book to stop hysterically laughing. It was so funny, and it was just like really funny lines about, you know, their banter together in their friend group, but also the main character, um it's all told by Eve's perspective, which is the main female character, and then the main male character is Ed. So there's a lot of like interpretations on what Just Last Night actually means, and I feel like most of this story is about like last nights or like the night before of like, you know, the night before everything changes, because like everything can change after like the night of, you know, like Just Last Night. So I feel like that's like the main theme of this book, obviously. So anyway, so Eve is like, you know, trying to find someone that, you know, she wants to be with, but she's always had feelings for Ed, but Ed never really made his feelings known until like the end of the summer when they all had to go back to college, and he finally like confesses his feelings for her, and then he writes her like this letter, and she says she loves him too, and then they kiss, and then he writes this letter like telling her all of his feelings, and then Ed seems to have moved on. He kind of ghosts her and she doesn't understand why. And then she finds out that Ed has really moved on and ends up having a girlfriend, and he ends up being engaged. So Eve feels really betrayed. So after all of that happens, something tragic happens. And basically, you know, they have to um like reunite because she hasn't really like talked to him after she found out that he had a girlfriend. And after like this tragedy happens, um they have to, you know, count on each other and also their friend Justin to support each other through this tragedy. And um basically one of the friends' brothers like comes out of the woodwork and like tries to put a wedge in like Eve and Susie's friendship, and you'll find out what happened. I don't really want to spoil it. So basically, um it gets really sad after like being really funny, but also like that's how life is. Like, so, you know, the best parts about life are followed with the very tragic parts of life, so it's very realistic, honestly. So Ed like keeps on you know, never being with Eve, and Eve wants to be with Ed, but Ed keeps on like kind of fucking up. And he's like a cheater, honestly. And he sleeps with someone that's like honestly the ultimate betrayal. And also, he sleeps with someone while he is with the girlfriend that Eve didn't know about until her other friend told him. It's just crazy. It really is. And honestly, like, I'm kind of really disliking Ed's character right now. So I don't know if this is going to be 5 star unless he redeems himself in some type of way, because every time he tries to explain himself, I feel like he kind of wimps out. And it's almost done in like a, like a cheating type of guy way where it's like, oh, feel sorry for me, but I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to hurt you. But it's like, it's even worse, like when you don't tell the person. So I don't know I d- if this is going to be 5 star, because obviously, if something's going to be a 5 star, I need to like all the characters or even love them. If I like all the characters, that's all I need. And I don't really like Ed right now. So we will see. That's basically the gist of it right now. Um, Basically Ed is confessing to her right now on what he did about sleeping with this other woman. Um and Eve feels really betrayed, and honestly, I've been on Eve's side like this entire time. It's like it's fucked up, but also the there's like almost like a quotable line in like every single page of this book, and like they really really hit home for me because it's like they're so realistic and so true about life. And this is definitely easier to read than The Life Impossible so far. But I didn't realize that this isn't really a light read. It's kind of sad right now, but not too sad enough for me to be like sobbing, and also not sad enough for not to be like flowing well and like kind of fast paced, and like something is still happening, and something's always happening in this. So I'm not bored at all. I think it's very well written. So we will see um how if they end up together, cuz right now he's still engaged. So, yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it, and I will update you guys tomorrow. Hopefully, I will be able to finish it tomorrow night. I'm just going to brunch with a couple of friends in the early afternoon, and I don't know how long we're going to be hanging out there. Maybe like a couple of hours, because we're going to be like outside and it's going to be really pretty. But I'm hoping to binge the book tomorrow night so I can finish it. So, because I've already like spent 2 days on reading this, but I didn't have that much reading time yesterday. But I still read 100 pages yesterday, and then I read 100 pages today. So I'm still reading 100 pages a day. So yeah, I will update you guys when I finish it. And I'm getting like 4.5 vibes right now. I don't know about 5 star, but we will see. I just don't really like Ed right now, so we will see if he redeems himself. So bye. Okay, so hey guys. Sorry, something's bothering me. So I just wanted to give you guys an update that I did just finish Mahari McFarlane's just last night. I just finished it like maybe like 40 minutes ago. And I forgot to take a clip of me reading this, but why do you need to see me read every single book? Like, I was still reading it, but I was just like probably just so sucked into like the last 50 pages of this. But I'm gonna tell you right now, this was not a 5 star, but it was very close. I think I'm going to be giving this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Again, it was very, very close, but I think maybe I'm just getting a little bit picky with my ratings now, because like but this book was spectacular. Very beautiful writing. The writing was spectacular. Um there's some lines that she writes that will just crack you up, but also just literally devastate you out of nowhere. So I really do want to read more of her books. Like, I think she's a fantastic author. So, but for me, I don't think there was quite enough romance in this for me. And I'm not saying like that had to be like the main plot. I just felt like it took a little bit too long to get there, but then when you actually see why it did, it's very, very sad. But it was kind of losing me a little bit, like kind of like almost 60% of the way through to like 70%, because Eve has to go away with this certain relative that has now appeared, because I said a tragedy happens, so somebody dies in the book. I'm not going to say who, obviously, but like this relative that she has to go with basically says, because she ends up like going to the house with Ed, and she has to like save some things like from the house after like this person dies. Why is there hair on me? Oh my god. I swear there's always hair on me all the fucking time. So but like this relative like kind of assumed that they had went to the house, and they say if you don't like hand over these things that you took, but it's more like she's saving it for like sentimental value, but technically she's not family, but this person is. He's like, if you don't hand these over, like you're gonna get sued. But then all of a sudden, like he reappears and he asks her to go help find his father, because his father has early onset Alzheimer's dementia or whatever, and he like decides to go away, and he has to go and find his dad and bring him back home. So she has to go with him, and he says, if you do this, then I will drop like suing you for these lost items or the stuff that you took from the house. So she goes, and I just felt like they, you know, they just were there a little bit too long in the book. I felt like it could have been wrapped up a little bit faster, and also like I really wanted the like romance to develop then, but it kind of didn't. But like you were still hearing like Eve's like internal thoughts that whole time. So then there was kind of like a choice that she had to make between Ed and this other relative that she was deciding who she wanted to be with. But Ed, he is a douche canoe. I really did not like Ed. And I think that's why like it dropped a little bit for me, and also like that part where they were just there a little bit too long. And again, the romance didn't really develop as, you know, as fast as I would have liked it to, even though in reality, romance does take quite a while to develop or have feelings for somebody. But like I'm talking about, we were on page like 330 and there still wasn't really like any other kiss. And this book was 393 pages, and I'm like, okay, we're on page 330 and no one has kissed yet, and no one has made their feelings known. But I really do love the way that she wrote this. There was just some parts that were just like pure perfection. And I have to read some of these quotes. So basically, in the end, she chooses who she wants to be with. And that's mostly the gist of it, because I don't want to like ruin it. So I think I did a pretty good job of summarizing without spoiling anything. So anyway, but then there's like this whole thing that this character says to her, like, because he is very hard to open up. It's very hard for him to open up to other people because he had such a horrible like childhood, and then you like find out why, because you didn't even know like half the shit that he went through, and it's just like devastating. And there was like this one line that absolutely wrecked me because a lot of this reminded me of the death of my best friend. And if you guys didn't know, my best friend passed away 3 years ago from bone cancer. And I couldn't even talk about it for like the first year that it happened. Now I'm like, I'm okay. Like I can talk about it. Like I miss her every day of my life, but I'm still okay to talk about it to people now. But like, there's like this one freaking line that was so devastating. So he says, yes, once. Oh, wait, no. She said, did you never try to tell her what had gone on? And I'm not going to say who this is. So he says, yes, once, as a punishment. He locked us in a wardrobe. We were very little. That was the one time I saw him go ballistic on so and so, too. Because if I say the name, it'll spoil it. And then it says, she was hyperventilating that she was going to run out of air. It was horrible. And then this line, I was crying for like 10 minutes. I had to put the book down. It was so sad. That was why I didn't want her to be buried. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That was so devastating. And I was like, that's kind of how I felt like about my best friend because she was cremated too. Oh, God. And then there was this other paragraph that was just so beautifully written about like them finding like finally discovering their love for each other. And she says, beauty isn't in an arrangement of features, even features as perfect as so and so, it's a feeling. This is how it feels in the split second you suddenly become aware that you're falling in love with someone. The click of a jigsaw's last piece, the rainfall of coins in a jackpot slot machine, the right song striking up and you being swept away by its opening bars. That conviction of making complete sense of the universe in one moment. Of course, you're where I should be. You're here. Like, what? That's so beautiful. Like, oh, it was just such beautiful writing. So I really, really, really liked this a lot. But unfortunately, it's not a 5-star, but it was still really, really good. Okay, so then 3 out of 4 books down. Now we are going to be going into Lovely War by Julie Berry. I'm super excited for this one. I have a super strong feeling that this might be the 5-star read in this video because we still haven't found one yet, but maybe the best is for last. So I'm going to start this probably tomorrow or maybe like an hour from now. I'm not sure yet, but I kind of don't want to read anymore because I had to binge that tonight and I read like 140 pages, so I don't really know if I want to read anymore until tomorrow, but I'm super excited to start this. So yeah, hopefully that will be our 5-star, because if not, then I guess we're going to have to do this again, and I'm actually really excited to do it again because I have 4 books in mind that I really want to do this with again. If this one isn't a 5-star, I kind of want to like post these like back to back. So yeah, that's it. Bye. Okay, so hey guys, I wanted to give you guys my halfway update of Lovely War by Julie Berry. I'm on page 234, so I got really far yesterday. I think I read like 180 pages yesterday, and then I read like 50-ish pages today. You guys, I am absolutely loving this book. I literally like don't want to do anything else. This book is so unique in the best way possible, and I am sensing that this is going to be our 5-star because I am absolutely loving this. It's just such a unique premise. Basically, it follows 4 characters, which are Hazel, James, Aubrey, and Colette. And basically, it follows like their love stories over the course of World War II. And Aubrey and James are both sent to fight in the war because obviously men went to fight in the war then. And Hazel is pretty much like the main character, but it really does take place from like all of their perspectives. But the way that this combines like so many different genres and does it in such a seamless, beautiful, really great flowing writing. is so rare because I felt like I almost feel like I'm reading like a multi-genre book, kind of similar to like Ministry of Time, but I feel like this is just it just flows so much better, and like I just really am so intrigued by all of the character stories in this, but there's not that many characters. Like I said, there's only four main characters, but it also has Greek gods in it. Like when I heard the concept of this book, like I thought this was just a historical fiction. No, it's like so much more than that. It's like a historical fiction, fantasy, romance book. And I'm like, I'm absolutely loving it. I just think that this is the most unique thing I've read in like a long time. So it basically all takes place from Aphrodite's perspective, and we also concentrate on four gods, which is Aphrodite, Ares, Hades, Apollo, and Hephaestus. Okay, that's five. And Hephaestus, basically, if you know Greek mythology, Aphrodite was supposed to be in love with Hephaestus, but Aphrodite's curse is pretty much that she can't really love anyone. Even though she's the goddess of love, she can't really fall in love. But it concentrates on Hazel and James's love story, and how Aphrodite gets them to be in love, obviously. She's not really talking as, like, being as involved with Colette and Aubrey, but like we're getting a lot of Aubrey's perspective now, and Aubrey, I believe, is a black man and Colette is a French woman. And back in like the 1920s, that was so like looked down upon. Like Aubrey keeps on getting, tortured by white men about, loving a white woman, even though she's a French woman. And it deals with a lot of that, but also it never loses the core plot and romance of the four main characters. And that's why I'm really loving this. Like, there's such a good build up because like you already know that these people are going to be together, but they don't even kiss yet. But there's so many things that are so fascinating about their love stories that it's like you don't even care if they kiss or not. And then like the last line of a chapter is like, and then they kiss. And it's like, that's how you do build up. It's like there's so many different reasons why these characters can't be together because it's during a time of war, and it's just so wonderful. I've just been smiling the entire time I've been reading this because like all I've wanted to do is read this. And it looks so long, but honestly, I'm flying through this because like I said, the text is really big. The chapters are really short, and I love that the chapters are no longer than, I think the longest chapter is like maybe 8 pages so far. Or like 6 or 7 pages. They're not even that long. But like, I feel like she is so extremely talented that she packs so much into one little chapter in like 5 pages, and you're already like so intrigued on what's going to happen next. And it also like keeps like the pace going by having shorter chapters. And I'm like, okay, oh my God, what happens next? What happens next? But it's not like edge of your seat. You're just so intrigued by the story. I'm just obsessed with this, and I'm going to continue reading it. So that's basically what it's about. I don't really want to go into it too much. I feel like I could talk about this for forever already. But basically, Hephaestus is putting Aphrodite on trial because she doesn't love him because she can't. And then like Aphrodite keeps on calling in witnesses like Hades and Apollo, and they are telling Hephaestus like their perspectives on what is happening with Hazel and James and Colette and Aubrey. So that's how we're getting the story of the 4 characters, because the gods concentrate on like these 4 characters. And that's basically what it's about. And I don't think any comments from the gods in like she throws like a little asides from the gods while they're telling like the love stories, when they concentrate on the love stories in the chapters, and I don't think it's throwing off the story at all. I actually think they're just like one sentence lines that are either funny or it's just like you're kind of reading like a narrator of a play. And it's just so good. I'm loving this. So I'm so excited to see what happens next. I also was listening to the audiobook last night because I finally got my listening hours back from Spotify. And the audiobook is so good because this also concentrates on a lot of music during the time of war because, you know, back then the troops only had music as their form of entertainment and their form of like escape. Like besides that, all they would do is drink and listen and watch live performers and play music. So Aubrey's like a musician. Like most of them, connecting them is music, and that's what I love the most. Like Colette's a beautiful singer, Hazel's like an amazing pianist, James is like another, I think he's an orchestra player, I can't remember, but Aubrey's like an amazing like pianist and like a jazz basically protege. And it in the audiobook it plays like what Aubrey is playing while they are like rehearsing, you know, their music pieces to entertain like the troops. And it's just so fucking good. I'm loving this so much. I'm going to stop rambling because I'm so excited to wrap up my final thoughts later, but so far that's what it's about. And again, I don't want to go too much more into it, but that's basically the gist of it, and I'm loving it. Wanted to let you guys know that I finished Lovely War by Julie Berry. I can't believe how fast I finished this. I thought this was going to take me 3 days. It only took me 2 because I read like 250 pages today. Sorry if you hear me scratching. My foot is itchy. But I did listen to quite a bit of the audiobook today, and I read a lot of it physically. But guys, I didn't like this book. I freaking loved this book. So we found our 5-star. So happy. This is actually my first 5-star this month. I absolutely loved this book so much. I like can't stop thinking about it. It was just one of the most unique, fantastic, fun, amazing, sad, happy, funny books that I've read in quite a long time. I felt like this was just so well written and so well executed from beginning to end. And can you believe that this is a freaking YA book? Like, I love YA books. I do, okay? I'm 36 and I still love young adult. Sometimes young adult books are better than regular adult books. Like, but I can't believe this is YA. I guess it stays YA because it doesn't go like too much into detail about World War II. Like, it mostly just concentrates on their love stories and like the training of the two men, obviously, because obviously women couldn't fight in the war yet. But I just loved this. I don't really want to say too much about the second book because I'm just still on such a high after finishing this, but it's just so incredibly easy to understand and read. It just portrayed the balance of the characters and the stories absolutely perfectly between Aubrey and Colette. Aubrey and Colette and James and Hazel and the four gods. So basically, like, the whole book is Aphrodite's trial from Hephaestus, and she is basically telling the story of Hazel and James, but also Hazel meets Colette along the way, and James meets Aubrey, and they end up, like, becoming friends as well. So it's not just about, the romance between the two of them, but also, like, I really love when books also go into the love and caring of friendship. And, yeah, I don't know. I just loved this so much. Again, I don't want to give too much away, but basically, like in the second half of the book, like some things occur with James and Aubrey that um Hazel and Colette end up being worried about, like where they are. And that's basically like what the whole second half of the book is. But I never felt like there was a word wasted in this book. There was nothing that was slow. I just completely devoured it. I just thought it was um, a perfect flow. It was 450 pages, but didn't even feel that long. And that's like, I think, my favorite thing, especially when you find like books that are longer than like 350 pages, is that sometimes like the page length can really like intimidate you. If it's over like that amount, like for me anyway, I think anything over 350 pages I think is so long. But this does not feel long at all. You're just so intrigued by their stories, and the romance that develops in this, like I said, you don't even care if they kiss because there's so much beautiful buildup and so many, and it also really deals with PTSD after the war and if they're going back to war. And I really love the way that she tied in music in this book. Like I said, if you listen to the audiobook, you hear Hazel like playing the piano, and I love it. It's just such a cool element to add, and I guess that's why she wrote it like act 1, act 2, act 3. And then it at the end it says exit music. So I just I could see this as a play. I really could see this as a play on stage. I think it would be a wonderful play because that's basically like how she wrote it. And then you wonder whether or not Hazel and um Colette are going to see them, James and Aubrey, again, and whether or not they're going to have a happy ending. And again, I don't want to give too much away, but that's basically what the book is about, with not really giving too much away. I can't really remember some of the other details of the second half. I think just because I'm on such a high. But I really don't think I need to say anything else. Like, that's basically the gist of it. And, the tragedies of war, but done again in like a way that's like so digestible and so fast paced, but nothing feels rushed in this whatsoever. Like I said, the chapters were perfect. And I felt like in order to make short chapters really mean something, it takes a lot of talent. So I loved this. I'm actually really wanting to read more of her books. But I'm glad I feel like in these videos, like sometimes the books just get better and better, and I kind of had a feeling that was going to happen. I was going to read an okay book to really good books to a great fantastic book, and I felt like that's how it was going to be. I don't know why. I already knew this was going to be a 5-star. Like, I've heard such amazing things about it, and I 100% think it's worth the hype. And a lot of people have been giving this book nothing but 4 or 5 stars for good reason. And most people that gave this book 4 stars, they said that the commentary from the Greek gods kind of took them out of it a little bit. And I understand that. But I feel like this book should almost be just listened to. And I know that people might be like, well, I don't listen to audiobooks, I only read physical books, which is totally fine. But I feel like she wrote it in such a way where when you actually listen to it and you listen to the gods speaking, it makes like the book even like flow even better, and it like won't take you out of the story because the voices were so incredible. I just loved this. I loved it so much. So I'm just so glad that we went from a 3.25, I believe, to a 4.2, to a 4.25 to a 4.5 to a 5-star. So like we really just gradually got better and better. But I just loved this. I haven't been obsessed with a book like this in a while, and I feel like everyone should read this. Even if like historical fiction isn't your jam, there's like, I feel like the reason why this is so popular is because there's so many different genres and elements in this book that makes this like enjoyable for a multitude of readers that only read um fantasy, or they only read historical fiction, or they only read romance, when all three are combined in the most beautiful lyrical way. I loved this so much. It was so good. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So please like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram at SUW819 and check out my Poshmark at the same handle. And let me know if you guys are interested in reading any of these books. But yeah, really loved them. So yeah, bye.